Spencer Lazara, MMAinterviews.tv. We're here at the Magic Convention, the Head Rush booth. Carlos Condit has taken a few minutes of his busy schedule here signing autographs for the fans. Actually, not quite as crazy as some of the other conventions, right? It's not all the MMA community here lining up for you. Quite the same.
No, it's pretty laid back.
You're right in the middle of camp, though. It's out here in Las Vegas for just a couple of days, I guess, and you get right back to it?
Just for a day, man. I flew in this morning, flying back tonight, back in camp tomorrow.
When did you find out that Rory McDonald was out and that you will now have a new opponent?
I found out Saturday afternoon. Looked around at some different opponents, and it ended up being Johny Hendricks.
Was that something that you pushed for at all? Because I know Dana Record went on record saying that he wanted the fight. He asked for the fight, and he gave it to him.
Yeah, no, he asked for it. I didn't know that was an option, but he asked for the fight, and it's an exciting fight. A win over Johnny will put me right back in contention, and it's definitely it was a bummer to see Rory go out, and I was really excited for that fight, but it's a consolation to be fighting Johny Hendricks.
Yeah, definitely. I think Rory's probably maybe a little more disappointed since you're the one with the win. He's not getting his rematch, so you don't need the rematch as much. And here you are with another opponent, like you said, the number 1 contender. Just talk about what it means to get right back in there against a guy like Johnny and solidify your position again.
It's a great opportunity. Johnny is, he's been on a tear, and he's, obviously a very, very tough opponent. Somebody I'm really going to have to train hard for and game plan well against. But like I said, a win over him will put me right back in the title shot.
It seems like, stylistically speaking, Johnny has a lot of things that not your kryptonite, but sort of a matchup that's a tough matchup for you. He's a very high-level wrestler, a guy who may try and control you and not let you, do your dynamic style. Do you feel like that, and what do you plan to combat that?
Yeah, it is a tough style matchup for me. You know what? My whole career I fought guys that are difficult style matchups. Wrestlers are a big part of the sport, and that's obviously my not my strong point. But I feel confident that I'm going to walk away with a win.
Definitely a different matchup than Nick Diaz, but it seems like your footwork is something in this fight that will also play a major role. You agree?
Yeah, I think so. I was training for Rory, who's a very technical, polished striker, and now I'm going against a guy who is not as technical, but very, very dangerous. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to use my technical abilities, my footwork, and my pinpoint striking to be able to take him out.
It'll be nice. I guess you won't have the crowd against you the same as you would have fighting Rory up there in Canada. Does that mean anything?
Yeah, finally, I'm going to have a friendly crowd. But last time when I fought in Montreal, it was awesome. I got a lot of respect from the crowd, even though they were cheering for GSP. So I'm just excited to get back in there and put on a good show for the fans.
Talk about that fight. Obviously, I thought you fought a great fight, especially catching him with that kick. Talk about that kick and how you practiced that, man. Just to flip up. I think it was a right kick, right, that you caught him on the chin?
It was actually left, yeah. We kind of practice being unorthodox and kind of coming with some different combinations that people aren't used to, and that's why I was able to catch George. It was close. I think if it had been a little bit lower, it would have been a different story, and it would have been me walking around with that belt. But George fought a great fight. He's a great champion, and I'm still disappointed about it, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get my chance at redemption.
Definitely. Cub Swanson actually was throwing that same kick a couple times. Did you watch that fight over there in England?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Cub's amazing, man. He's a dynamic striker. Comes up with all kinds of creative stuff. That's really one of the cool things about training at Jackson's is we're able to kind of play off each other, learn from each other. You see what some other guy's doing, and you try to incorporate it into your game. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then you kind of discard it.
UFC 157 this weekend. Ronda Rousey is fighting. What are your thoughts on her and against Liz Carmouche there?
It's exciting, man. I'm a fan of women's MMA, and the fact that she kind of got her foot in the door for the women's division is it's exciting.
And Henderson versus Machida, how do you see that one playing out?
I mean, Henderson, he's got a puncher's chance, and he could drop the right hand, but I see Machida being too much for him.
So what do you think, decision?
No, I'm going to say I think Machida by TKO.
Okay. And any other thoughts on upcoming events and other things going on with the UFC?
Well, UFC 158 is going to be incredible, man. Lot of welterweight fights. Even the undercard's great. GSP versus Nick Diaz is a really intriguing matchup. My fight versus Hendricks, I think it's going to be, it's going to be a war. And a lot of the fights underneath us are going to be awesome also.
Definitely. Just talk about that fight, actually. George St. Pierre and Nick Diaz. Do you feel like, Nate losing to Ben Henderson is kind of the path to go? I mean, you obviously also outpointed Nick, but do you feel like that's sort of the path to go, considering the wrestling ability that George possesses?
Yeah, I think that George has the tools and the athleticism to be able to beat Nick. I'm not counting Nick out though. He's a tough fighter. He can put guys in bad positions and you never know. But I would put my money on GSP retaining the title.
There you have it. This man, Carlos Condit. Check him out, UFC 158, out there in Montreal, Canada, taking on now Johny Hendricks.